Hello and welcome to Explore Monthly Tasting for June. I'm Matt, I'm the founder of Explore Chocolate. So the theme for this month is the great outdoors, high summer. Now there's a hint of irony there because it is absolutely chucking it down outside as I record this, but hopefully you're having better weather. So this month, in contrast to last month was more freshness and smoke and those kind of flavors, whereas this month is more about familiar flavors, it's about comfort, it's about those long drawn out nights expressing themselves in a different way. Okay, so we've got a 45% milk chocolate here to start with, which is from cacao from Sierra Madre in Mexico. So this is a nano batch, this is a test batch that we're doing as a new replacement potentially for our Solomon Islands 60% dark milk. So this is a little bit lighter, it's still darker than your average milk chocolate. You've got the higher cocoa content to give you a fuller flavour. You've got the toasted milk powder in here to give it lots of caramelly, biscuity kind of waves, similar to our caramelised white chocolate. And the Sierra Madre cacao has some fruity notes of blackcurrant, lemon, sometimes a bit of licorice, a bit of a nuttiness as well. With this one, we're expecting it to be quite a comforting, chilled out, like caramelly, nutty sort of milk chocolate. So snap this between your teeth, give it a good crunch, start to breathe in and out gently through your nose, get that retronasal olfaction on the go, and then just see what you think to this one. Straight away I'm noticing it's a little bit softer than the Solomon Islands milk. It's got slightly lower cocoa content. I'm getting that rich, deep, caramelized sweetness, which reminded me of honeycomb a little bit. There's a few fruity pops coming out there, but it's nothing like too acidic. It's not a challenging milk chocolate by any measure. Notice the texture on this one is slightly sandy, because this was a nano batch. I didn't want to refine it for the full way. This is just kind of a proof of concept. We'll see if the proportions are anywhere near where we want them first, and then we'll look at refining a bigger batch for a longer period of time. Obviously, the longer it's in the refiner, the smoother the chocolate is, but also we lose some of the acidic notes from the chocolate as the cacao kind of evaporates some of the volatile compounds as well. Yeah, I think I'm going to ponder on this one for a while. I'm not sure if we might up the cocoa content a little bit. We might even do maybe a 50-50 mix of the toasted milk powder and regular milk powder. We'll do a few more tests and then sort of see where we land. Okay, so the next one is another nano batch that we've not released yet. We are planning to release this one at some point soon. This is the last of our Vietnam Barria cacao. So I fell in love with this Vietnamese cacao last year. The 72% dark was my favorite dark of the year. And I'm heartbroken because we can't get any more of these cocoa beans. And we've got no time frame on when we might be able to get them back. So this one, the cacao has notes naturally of dried figs, dates, treacle, malt. This one, I've actually done a secondary fermentation on the last of the cocoa beans that we had. So we've lacto fermented some figs with a little bit of Scottish sea salt, and then we've infused that into the cocoa beans before we gently dehydrated them and then ground the chocolate. So this one is a 50% dark milk. Now I've used the same toasted milk powder from the other one, so it's going to be interesting to see. We'll get the same kind of caramelly, biscuity, malty flavor profile from the milk powder, but how is that different now with the cacao? Slightly more cacao in this one at 50% rather than 45, but we should expect a few more dried fruit notes coming through as well. I don't think it's going to be really in your face, but hopefully some subtle waves. So we'll give this one a go. Yeah, instantly the flavor profile is different. It's deeper, it's not as sweet. I'm not getting those sort of zingy pops. definitely a gentler, more well-rounded. Yeah, in a way, I kind of wish this one was how the Sierra Madre turned out. But that's a good sign for the Vietnam fig. Okay, with this one again, I think we may up the cacao content slightly. We may drop some of that caramelized milk powder out because I feel like the character from the toasted milk powder is fantastic, it's comforting, it's creamy, it's milky, it's caramelly, but it can kind of fight the cacao a little bit. So we might just do a few different tests there with different proportions of milk, toasted and non-toasted. Okay, so the next one we're going to go on to is actually going to be the replacement for the Vietnam 72%. We did a Mexico 74 for a short time with our Agua Escondida single estate cacao, but then we won gold at the International Chocolate Awards with a new test bar, which is fantastic, but all of those cocoa beans now need to be made into that bar. So this is our Sumba Island 72%. So if you've been with us for a few months, you've probably tasted the Sumba Island in a couple of different iterations as we've been playing with those cocoa beans. This is how it's coming into our core range. Okay, so this one to me has notes of apricot and grapefruit, slightly muted from a new roast profile on this one. And then we get toasted bread, chocolate brownies, and a bit of a nuttiness from this one as well. And this is going to sit right in the middle of our dark chocolate range. So we've got the Guatemala La Chua, which is fruity and vibrant. We've got this one now, which is nutty and bready. And then we've got the Belize 80%, which has got those tropical sort of notes to it as well. So I think this one's going to really round out that range as a whole. So see what you think to this one. Again, this is just 2 ingredients, cocoa beans and sugar. The cocoa beans come from a single estate, which is the Gurara estate on Sumba Island, which is near Bali. Okay, so we'll give it a go. Good snap to that one. Yeah, first impressions of this, it's creamy. It feels restrained, which actually to me is quite sophisticated. It's not overly bitter. So we've changed the roast profile on this one again. So less of those aromatic top notes in here. It's a slightly lower temperature for a longer drawn out roast. Levels off more of the acids from the cocoa beans as it's roasting. Getting like a gentle roasted bitterness towards the end, but I'm not mad at it. Yeah, definitely some sort of almonds or tonka bean kind of notes to it as well. I think it's going to live quite happily in our core range. Okay, so let's go on to the bonbons. So bonbons, if you don't know, these are filled chocolates. So we start by painting the designs in. So we stone grind our own natural organic colours to paint these with. We fill them with chocolate, pour the chocolate out. That leaves a hollow shell. So we pipe the fillings in and then pour more chocolate over the top to create the bases. So there's a few different types of bonbon here. I've been playing around with a couple of different textural concepts. This one here I was really excited for. This is date and heather honey. So I've actually just chopped the dates, coated them in heather honey, and then we pressed them into that shell. So this is a less refined approach to a bonbon than we normally have. Usually for us it's caramels, pâte de fruits, ganaches, pralines. You'll see those through here, but actually I'm just trying to think a little bit outside the box because my head is now going to advent calendars as well. And I thought this would be a fun kind of thing to try. So interesting textures, it should be a little bit fudgy, and those sort of dried fruit sweetness from the dates, and then that fragrance from the heather honey, and then the dark chocolate shell around it. Let's give it a go. Yeah, for me that's great. I can see for some people maybe the texture of dates slightly crunchy bittiness. Some people might not do great texturally with that because it is less refined, it's more rough and ready, but more natural in a sense. To me, I love that. Actually, as I finished chewing, I got the kind of almost aftertaste from the dates and then the fragrance from the honey just mingled in with it. Yeah, the chocolate was the right choice as well. It should tempered the sweetness slightly. You can see a nice long aftertaste here. I could sit there with a cup of coffee in the morning and have one of those. Okay, so we're going to go on to the next one. So this is hazelnut with roasted banana and brown butter. Okay, so it's a milk chocolate shell, and the ganache inside has had roasted banana puree that we've made, a little bit of brown butter in there. The chocolate that we've used is actually a new nano batch release that's going to come out sometime next month, towards the end of next month, and it is another fermented milk chocolate. So this one is another 45. It's not got the toasted milk powder in this time, but we've done a secondary fermentation on the cocoa beans with bananas. We've used muscovado sugar and some brown butter solids in there as well. So that one's going to come out as a solid bar. We've used that chocolate to make the ganache in here, but we've amped it up by adding more roasted banana in there. You've got a layer of hazelnut gianduja in there as well. So I'm really looking forward to trying this one. Actually, it's some of my favorite things altogether. If I could work coffee and rum into this as well, I would be a happy man. Maybe as a snack bar, who knows? All right, let's give it a go. That's right up my street. I've got to be honest. Might be one of my favorite things I've ever made. I'm a really big fan of banana and chocolate when they're done right. Banana is one of the hardest flavors to synthetically produce. So using real bananas is such a winner for me. Like if you can actually get actual banana into a product. With hazelnut there, I'm getting the nuttiness from the brown butter. I've got a deep sweetness coming through from that muscovado that's in the chocolate. Yeah, I think we might need to lock those away so I don't need to eat them all. The next one is raspberry with black sesame and Ras Al Hanout. Now I'm going to share with you a little bit of inside information because I am working on advent calendars at the minute. I'm just going to tell you guys now because nobody else knows this. The idea behind the advent calendars is flavor constellations. Okay, and looking at flavors, you can think of them like stars, and we can put them into different groups to create different flavor profiles, those constellations. Our perspective can change, and that means different flavors will work with other companion flavors. So here we've taken our raspberry pâte de fruits from the raspberry rose and hibiscus. We've flipped the flavor profile completely on this. You've got toasted black sesame seeds in there that we've left whole for some crunch. We've bound that in chocolate, and we've added some Ras Al Hanout seasoning spice blend to it. So this one should be a really texturally interesting chocolate. I'm really looking forward to seeing how the tartness from the raspberry plays around with the spices and those sort of like popcorny, nutty, fruity flavors that come out as the sesame seeds pop. Yeah. So that one, yeah, it's obviously different to the raspberry rose and hibiscus. The first thing that hit me there was the Ras Al Hanout. I got a little hint of what was to come. The sesame seeds started popping almost instantly. I can still feel them popping now actually, even though I finished. The raspberry, the tartness from the raspberry works really well against the spices. It reads a bit savoury. It makes me think of a tagine or something like that. It's definitely that North African kind of vibe to it from the Ras Al Hanout, obviously. But they're all things that theoretically can live very happily together. again, for me, that's a very interesting chocolate. I'm really excited to apply this kind of thinking now to the year as a whole, and then that's going to come up with it's going to determine the flavors that go into the Advent calendar. So it's going to be a reimagining of the year gone by. Okay. So the next one, we're going for pure simplicity here. So this is it's a dark chocolate. It's got Papua New Guinea vanilla pods and some blackthorn sea salt in a ganache. Super simple, but again, that salinity should hopefully make this feel super grown up and sophisticated. And it's really nice vanilla as well. They're quite rare, these vanilla pods from Papua New Guinea. It's one of 4 types of vanilla that we use in here. Yeah, quite fruity, quite fragrant. Really interested to see how that plays around with the sea salt. Let's give it a go. So you should get some little pops from the salt crystals in this as well. So the approach to this one, I wanted the vanilla to be really present but not familiar. I remember hearing, I think it was about Askinosie chocolate, that they did a dark chocolate and vanilla bar. They put so much vanilla in it that it read as a spice, because most cultures, apart from Europe, European cultures, use vanilla as a spice. It's used in savoury food quite a lot. Really interesting to see that this is not a particularly sweet chocolate, excuse me, especially with the sea salt in it. It's so full of flavour. Hindsight, I probably should have put this one at the end of the tasting because that's quite a strong flavour. We have offset it now with quite a sweet chocolate. Okay, so this one is roasted peach and thyme. So we're going back to a milk chocolate shell. We took some peaches, slow roasted them, turned that into a caramel, and emulsified the caramel with some thyme oil. Okay, so I wanted the thyme to be just a whisper of thyme, but not really, really present. We've used thyme before in the Explore Monthly boxes where it was more of a dominant flavour. This one is just here to accent the peach slightly. What's interesting for me with this caramel, might bore you a bit, but on a little bit of a technical note, due to the pectin content of the peach, this has actually turned more of a texture of a pâte de fruit than a caramel. Never intended to be a pâte de fruit. It's naturally gone a little bit gummy, a bit gel-like, but that's all naturally occurring pectin from the peaches. Okay, so give this one a go. Yeah. For me, it's a bit on the sweet side personally because I'm not a big fan of a really sweet chocolate. Obviously it's a caramel inside a milk chocolate, so we always expect it to be a bit sweet. I think it could easily go with a dark chocolate shell to offset some of that sweetness, but within this it works as quite a nice palate cleanser. It's fresh, you really get the peach coming through, and that sweetness, it's cleaned my mouth completely after the vanilla one. And now on the aftertaste, as I breathe out, I'm getting a little hint of thyme. Pretty pleased with that one. Yeah. Yeah, if I had to score that one, I'd say 7 out of 10. Maybe try it with a dark chocolate shell next time. Okay, and the last chocolate, this is one from our core range, so some of you may have tasted this one before. This is Dark and Stormy. Okay, so it's a dark chocolate shell. It's got a cacao and vanilla infused rum ganache, and we make the rum here using the roasted husks from our cocoa beans and some of our Tanzania Kilimanjaro vanilla and a little bit of Amazonian Pompona vanilla, which is the rarest vanilla on the planet to my knowledge. The pods are about this big. You've got a little slice of crystallized ginger in the base and a tiny grating of lime zest. So this is inspired by the cocktail. The rum here, don't expect this to read like a spiced rum because it's not got any of those flavors in it. It's kind of meant to just supercharge the chocolate flavor because you've got that cacao and vanilla flavor profile, to the rum in the first place. We'll give it a go. It's definitely one of my favourite chocolates in our core range. You know, the ginger kind of stayed persistent through the eating of that bonbon. I got little pops of sugar crystals coming from the crystallized ginger. I'm getting a slight fragrance from the lime now. Very gentle, but it's there. A little bit of heat from that ginger, and that cacao and vanilla rum is just kind of like sitting above everything. Not a bad way to start the day. Yeah, it is 8:05 here in the morning, so that is my chocolate fix for the day. I hope you have enjoyed this tasting and this month's chocolates as much as I've enjoyed making them. I'm really looking forward to sharing July's box with you. We've actually finalised our flavours for the rest of the year now, so I will give you some more news on that. We've got some big news for December subscribers, and I'll see you again soon. All right, bye bye.